Alright, quick update on Bitcoin. So it looks like in the shorter time frames, Bitcoin does want to bounce up to some higher price targets before we do go down to my targets that I'm estimating at 22,000. So let's talk about what Bitcoin's doing now. Let's talk about where we should expect the price to move down to. So there's two different ways you can draw this, but either one of them has the exact same price target, because whether you're talking about this massive asymmetrical triangle or whether you're talking about this triangle pattern here, the breakout target is the same for the both of them. So if we do extrapolate this, you can actually see this lines up with a 34,300 BTC price, which I believe would be about 10%, 13.7%. So not too shabby of a trade. And if we do come over to my other chart, taking in mind of the 34,300, you know, this is really the macro chart that I've been running off. And I have said in my videos, while I do think 22,000 is on the table, I would not be surprised if we did bounce up to 34, or potentially we could even bounce up to as high as 36, 37,000 before I do think we'd have that next rollback down. And that would still be a lower high from these regions, lower high from here, lower high from here, and a lower high from here. So that would still be going with the macro trend to the downside. If you also see this trend line that we've got coming in here just above us is literally sitting at 34,000. So we've got a strong area of confluence between this 34,300 and 34,000 right here. I feel like if Bitcoin is going to go up to any particular price target, it is probably going to be within this little blue box over here. I think definitely Bitcoin could come over to these price targets. Now, if we go over to the 1 hourly time frame and see what's happening, you can actually see there's a strong influx of volume, which is a great sign. Volume does predict price. I would like to see more volume stepping in because, you know, we're already tapering out of volume. This is really the point in time where you need to see continuation to carry us over the top of the trend. Now, I also don't think that buying at this moment in time would be the best thing. If I was looking to make this breakout trade, I would definitely be waiting for that retest of 29,900 to 30,000, and then if you did start to push up, you started to push up above 30,300 after this backtest of 29,900, then we could definitely expect a lot of continuation in the markets. Now, my only problem with this trade at this moment in time is the macro time frame has not changed. So if you were taking this trade, you would be betting on a short-term move. You know, exponential selling volume is still here. We're not breaking out on the RSI. The dollar has not had like a blow off top yet. So there's a lot of signals that Bitcoin has not found a macro bottom yet. However, like I said, this doesn't mean that we can't go up to some higher price targets. A couple of other price targets to take note of, which I am going to draw as a separate area of confluence, is between your 0.5 Fibonacci and your 618. And what's super interesting about this, even if we got really bullish and we made it all the way up to the 618 fib, we'd be coming up to 35,000, which, once again, heading back over to this chart, this would kind of line up with the fact that we could come up to, you know, some of these higher price targets. The trend line at this moment in time, assuming that we take a week to get up to it, would be 40,000, which I feel like that would be a little bit too soon. I feel like it's more likely that we would come to 37, 38, and that would be the top. I don't think we are going to go that high, so that just take that with a grain of salt. Nonetheless, here are your price targets. Like I said, if you are looking for this breakout trade, make sure you are getting a confirmed retest of this on the trend line that we have just broken at 29.9. We have poked our head above this multiple times on the hourly and failed. We did it once and we backtested and slipped right through it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much enough said. Definitely look out for that backtest, but the price action right now is not too bad. I also do like how you are above the 4 hourly EMA ribbons at this moment in time. So, you know, even if we go up and come back down to 29, if you further saw a retest of the 30,100 region, that would just be like a double confirmation that we are going to push up to some of these higher price targets. I definitely would be looking at making this a leverage long trade, probably on a 10x leverage with a tight stop loss, somewhere back down here in the pattern. I would say if we had a throwback to, because I'd want to make sure that if we did come back down and break back out, I'd be good. So what would the risk to reward be after a push back down. So on a 10x leverage, I could approximately lose about 20% of my trade if we did come down to the 29,300 level. I think marking this just underneath the heart line is probably the best thing to do, because if we do come down to this stop loss, I want to make sure that the trend is going bearish and we're not just doing something like retesting these previous highs before we do break back out. So a couple of targets to keep in mind. Like I said, if you ask me where I'd be looking to take profits on this trade, I'd be pulling a lot of them at 33,600. I'd then be letting some ride up to both 34,000 and 34,300, and then also coming up to your 618 fib 35,000. I do find it somewhat difficult to believe that we would be able to get that high. If we come over to the daily EMA ribbons, you could also see that if we did break up from this could just be another bearish retest from the EMA ribbons, and you would not be out of the blue until 36, and even then you'd be looking for a breakout. So there's a lot of things to take note of. Like I said, make sure that you get the 1 hourly back test on this. If we do see the 1 hourly back test, like I said, this is going to be a trade that I am going to be taking. However, if we never see the hourly back test, or if we back test and we slip through it and go back into the channel, then unfortunately I would be sitting this one out. Be very, very careful. I still think the macro trend is very much to the downside, and this is a weekend breakout, so this would be somewhat of a degenerative trade to make. A lot of the altcoins bouncing as well, total crypto market cap going up. This is definitely going to give a little bit of extra push for Bitcoin to move up to these higher price targets. Best of luck if you are planning on making this trade. Like I said, from the back test, if you were looking to take the back test, you'd have price targets anywhere from a 12% gain, 15% gain, all the way up to a 17% gain. Make sure you manage your risk correctly, make sure you do your own TA, and most importantly, wait for the hourly back test. That's all I've got for you for today for Bitcoin. As always, not financial advice. Cowboy out. Peace.